All right, people are piling in. Hello, everyone. I'm gonna go live, and I'm gonna let people show up for a second. I'm gonna vamp for a minute or two while people are waking up. So I'm gonna talk today. Thank you for joining me for my live. I'm just gonna give it a couple minutes or seconds or whatever before I start talking. In the meantime, good morning, says Austin. Good morning. So I'm gonna talk about getting a showrunner attached. And if you have any questions while I talk, go ahead and you can leave it in the comments. I may not get to it right away. I may just wait till I'm done talking, and then I'll go back and scroll through and hopefully get everybody's comments. People, it's 8 p.m. Well, it's morning here. It's late where you are. I don't understand how people aren't on the same time. We got to take this up with the world. Okay. So first, before I begin, there's a couple housekeeping things. You should all be on my watch list. I hope you all are, because every Friday I send out, if you like the advice that I give you here, every Friday I put it in an email and I send it out for acting advice and writing advice and directing advice, all that kind of stuff. So my watch list is michaeljamin.com/watchlist. All the links are in my profile here on Instagram, by the way. Second thing, in a few days, we're doing a giveaway here on Instagram. So for my screenwriting course, if you want to learn more about that, it's michaeljamin.com/course. But it's a giveaway, so we're going to post the rules in a couple of days. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Number 3, or letter C, I got a podcast called Screenwriters Need to Hear This. So if you like what I'm talking about here, listen to the podcast because I go into more detail. And if you miss it, by the way, if you join here late or you want to watch it again, this live, we will be reposting this onto my YouTube channel, which is @MichaelJaminWriter. So subscribe to that. I should watch right now on YouTube, see how all the numbers go up. You should all be subscribing to YouTube because we post special stuff there. Anyway, all right, who's ready to begin? I know I'm not. Okay, so this talk is called How to Get a Showrunner Attached. I get this question a lot. People approach me. Hey, sometimes people approach me. Can you attach yourself to my project? And I'm like, no, dude, it doesn't work that way. So here's what a showrunner is, by the way. A lot of people don't even know what a showrunner is. A showrunner is basically the head writer, the executive producer, usually, of a show. Often they're the creator of the show, sometimes not. Sometimes a show is created by someone with a new writer with less experience, and they hire a showrunner to run the show. And the showrunner, like I said, is the head writer, and they are responsible for every creative decision on the show. They may delegate those decisions, but ultimately it falls on their shoulders. So like in film, the director makes all those decisions, but in TV, the showrunner makes all those decisions. In TV, in TV, the director answers to the showrunner. So the showrunner is the boss, okay? So how do you become a showrunner? It takes years. I mean, you want to start at the bottom. You want to learn how to write. You want to understand story structure. You want to rise up. At some point in my career, my partner's career, you get to a level where it's kind of like you hit a ceiling. It's like you either have to advance to the next level and become a showrunner, or you're kind of screwed. Because you're not going to get work. So it's kind of like a necessary thing to get good enough to become a showrunner, because there's just more work opportunities. So I hope that helps. This guy Nicholas says, have I ever been a showrunner? Yeah, my partner and I have run 3 shows. We ran Marin on IFC. We ran Rhett and Link's Buddy System on YouTube Red. We ran Glenn Martin DDS on Nick at Night. And so to be a showrunner, these episodes of a TV show can cost easily $1 million to produce. So they're not going to give the keys to the kingdom to someone who's never done it before. It's just too much. There's too much you have to know. The main responsibilities of a showrunner are figuring out what stories to tell, but also how to tell them. That's a big thing. And you have to know how to break a story. That's the whiteboard over there. So breaking the story is figuring out where all the beats go. And then you have to go watch, you have a rehearsal and you're watching the table read, and you have to figure out why something isn't working. You have to be able to identify what's not working and how to fix it. And you have to be able to do it fairly quickly because you got to shoot the episode that week. So it's a high pressure job, but you get paid for it. So that's nice. So, so people often come to me, they say, hey, I got a project. Maybe give me some waves or likes, or if this applies to you or you think applies. People will say I got a project. I pitch it to a studio or I pitched it to a producer and they love my project. They love my idea, but now they say, I just have to get a showrunner attached and it's off to the races. How many of you have heard that or yourselves or think that's the way it works? And I'll wait for a second. Just give me some hearts. Yeah, there's a lag here, so just give me some hearts if you think that's how it works. Meanwhile, I'll scroll down through the comments. Okay, so a lot of hearts are coming. Right, a lot of people think a lot of people think this is how it works. A lot of you think it's how it works. You've heard this before. So you all been sold, as you know, I don't bullshit. Oh my God, here's some more likes. You've all been sold a mountain of bullshit, and I'm here to help you disabuse you of this, because the only way to move forward is by hearing the truth, okay? So I'll repeat, you've pitched your show to a producer or a studio, and they say, hey, we love it, we just need a showrunner attached, and we're off. Okay, that's a blow off. That is a polite way of saying, hit the bricks. Because it doesn't cost them anything. They don't need to insult you. They say, hey, we love it, but we need a showrunner. So what you're hearing is this. You're hearing my idea plus showrunner equals possible hit show. Right? That's the equation. My idea plus showrunner equals possible hit show. That equation is true. But in that equation, my idea equals 0. You understand? Or close to 0. Maybe it equals 1. So it's the equation really is showrunner equals possible hit show. They're happy of course they want a showrunner attached. They'll have a showrunner attached to any piece, anything. It doesn't really, yes, you're sure your idea is good, but any idea they want a showrunner attached to, because that's how you sell a show. So it's really the showrunner that they're attracted to. Now, as a showrunner, if I were to go pitch a show to a producer, obviously I don't need to have a showrunner attached. I'm a showrunner, but they may say, okay, they may like my idea with my partner, or they may like it. They may say, we're not crazy about it. So it's not like it's a slam dunk for us to be able to pitch a show or to sell a show. It's just like, maybe you have 1 out of 4 chance or 1 out of 5 chance we'll sell, so it's not a slam dunk, but you need a showrunner. If they were to tell you this, hey, we need a showrunner, let's say you pitch your idea to a producer, and I'm not saying your idea is good or bad, maybe it's a great idea. But if you were to pitch your great idea to a producer, and they say, we love it, but we need a showrunner attached, what the fuck is their job? That's their job. Their job is to get a showrunner. Why are they telling you to do their job? They're producers or agents, whoever they are, that's what they're supposed to do. If you were to pitch your idea to a studio, and they say, we love it, but we need a showrunner attached, well, your studio's worth $1 billion. Pay a showrunner, and we'll come out of the woodwork. Wave money in front of us, and we come out of the woodwork. So there's no difficulty in getting a showrunner attached. Like, that's their job. All they have to do is open up the paycheck, open up their their checkbook, and we come. So when they're telling you get a showrunner attached, they're blowing you off. That's their job. Okay? Does that make sense? I think it does. It's the cold hard truth. And if you're just tuning on, if you're just joining, I'm sorry you're a couple minutes late. You're a little late. Don't worry. I'm going to repost this on my YouTube channel. You get to watch the whole thing on YouTube. My YouTube channel is @MichaelJamin_Writer. And now, so go subscribe to that. And now back to me yelling at everybody. Okay. Let me see where I was. I have some notes here I wrote down. Okay. So now you're saying, well, why can't I just reach out to someone like me or another showrunner? There's plenty of showrunners, right? First of all, just so you know, only a handful of showrunners really move the needle. Shonda Rhimes, Chuck Lorre, Aaron Sorkin. I know he probably doesn't even want to work in TV anymore. But there's only a handful of that will really move the needle, like big shots. They don't need you. Why do they need you? Then there's people like of my level, right? We don't move the needle. Like, honestly, we don't. This is our jobs, and we try to do our jobs. We're not giant big shots. And so you're saying, well, why don't, I have the idea. This is what you're saying. I have an idea. I've done all the work. Can you just attach yourself? And so here's why we don't. Hold on. After this Spindrift break, Spindrift should send me some money. First of all, we often don't have the bandwidth for it, right? I mean, to help someone develop a show requires a lot of work, and we have our own projects we're working on. Maybe we're on a TV show. Maybe we're developing our own shows. We don't have that much time and energy. Like, we're going to focus on stuff that we're doing because our time is limited, right? That makes sense. Number two, why do we need your idea when we have our own ideas, right? Sure, you have a good idea, but we've been doing this for 10, 20 years. We have good ideas too, right? I should hope. So we don't need your idea. You have to bring something more to the table than just an idea. What does that mean? We'll get to that. Hang on. Number three, and this should be obvious, but taking on a creative partner, and that's what you're saying, hey, partner with me on something, is a pain in the ass. Because creative partners can be pains in the asses. You're going to fight for your stuff. I'm going to say, I don't like that. I'm going to say, I have a better way of doing it, or based on my experience. And now you're going to get upset, but my idea, like, forget it. You know what I'm saying? Forget it. It's a pain in the ass. It just is. That's what happens when you take on creative partner. It's, that's the agreement you make. Number 4. So let's say I were to attach myself to your show and pitch it, and I'm working on it for 6 months, helping you develop it, right? Because it's not going to be perfect out of the gate. I'm going to help you develop it. I'm going to spend a lot of time and effort doing this. Then we're going to go pitch it. Like I said, the odds of striking out for me on my own are 1 out of, I sell maybe 1 out of 4, 1 out of 5. So the odds of me striking out with your idea are high, right? And it doesn't look good for me. I can only strike out so many times, and then they say, hey, we get another batter up here. So I have to be careful what I pitch. It's just natural. You don't get, you can't keep bringing ideas to these people if they don't buy them, if they don't want them. Next thing, I don't even know what number I'm on. Number 11, number Z. Okay, if we were to sell your pilot, they buy a pilot script first. That's how it works. You pitch your idea, then they buy a pilot script. How much did you get paid? That depends on who you sell it to, what your quote is, if there's a bidding war. I mean, so people are like, well, how much you get paid? It just depends. It could be $30,000, $50,000. It could be $250,000. It just depends. This is for the pilot script. It doesn't go on air. It's the script. You're getting paid to write a script. Most likely you're going to throw the script in the garbage. We don't really care because we got the money. Shh, fine. If they want to throw their money out, we don't care. Now, if you were to do that, and it's yours created, you created it, I'm just attached as a showrunner to give you my counsel and my advice, right? And you sold the show. Let's say you sell the pilot for $50,000. What's my cut of it? My cut of it is next to nothing. My cut of it might be $5,000. It's not. You get 45 or 50, and I get 5 because you created the show. So there's not a lot of money in it for me, considering how much time I have to do it. And the reality is, when the notes come back. Let's say we sell it and you got 50 and I get 5, and the notes come back from the network, you're not going to know how to implement them. You're going to be at sea. It's not an insult on you. It's just because you haven't done it before. And I've been doing it for 26 years. So I know how to do it and you don't. It's right. So, and the network's going to look at me and they're going to say, hey, fix this. And now I'm not getting paid. I'm getting 5 and you're getting 45 or 50 if it's a low end show, right? And so now I have to do all this work and I'm not getting paid for it. So, right? It's a big deal. And it's important that you understand the economics of this, because once you understand how the money flows, then now you have a better idea how to make it in Hollywood. Right now you have no idea, and so I'll teach you. Okay. I want to give you an example. This is just a recent example. My partner and I recently sold an animated show to a network. It's a small network, but you've definitely heard. I don't want to mention names because I don't like mentioning names, but it's a small network. You've definitely heard of them. It's not some freaking cable network that you can only pick up on your watch, or you can only see at the Shell oil station when you're getting gasoline. It's not that network, okay? It's a real network. And they wanted to get into animation because during COVID, it's easier to animate shows. But they had never done it before. It was pretty obvious they'd never done it before. So they reach out to one of these producers that they work with for one of their shows. Hey, we want to hear some animated ideas. Do you have any? This producer he's a producer. He reaches out to his friends, and our friends are his friends. And these friends are big TV writers, movie writers. And he said, do you want to do this show? You want to create an animated show? And they're like, the money's going to be bad. We're kind of busy. Not really. So our friends, they reach out to me and my partner. Hey, we know of this opportunity. Do you want to create this show for this network that doesn't do animation and doesn't have any idea how to do animation? There's not going to be a lot of money. Do you want to do it? And we're like, I don't really know, because it doesn't sound like But the thing is, we were in between jobs. So when you're in between work, you feel bad for turning down work. If you had a job, you just say, forget it. I'm not interested. But when you're in between jobs, you're always like, I better take the work. So I talked to my friend on the phone. I was like, I don't really know. I'm not really sure if I want to do this. And he said, well, why don't you just take the opportunity and hire a young staff writer to write it, and you can oversee it for them. And I said, no, man, that's the worst thing. Then I make no money. I do all the work, like I just explained to you. And he started to laugh. He goes, yeah, I know. That's exactly right. He goes, you're absolutely right. And then he said, well, he said, well, what if I serve, what if he serves as the show, as basically the overseeing showrunner and we do the work? And I was like, okay, truth is that he gets whatever, $5,000 and my partner to do whatever most of the work, but that's fine. It seems fair to me that he should get some kind of cut because he was cutting us in. He found the project. It seemed fair to me. I didn't feel like bad or dirty about it. I felt like, yeah, that sounds fair. So when my partner and I decided to actually do it, we're like, okay, that's how it's going to work. Well, because we had, like I said, we had some time. You always feel bad about turning down work when you have time. So we did it. Yeah, and so that's how that worked. We didn't want to, and he was happy. My friend was happy to do this because he knew that my partner and I would do a good job. He wouldn't have to, even though he wasn't making a lot of money, he didn't have to earn it really. And my partner and I decided to do it because we had time. And then of course we sold it. We did the job, and then at the last minute, the network was like, hey, do we really want to put cartoons on our network? And I'm like, no, you don't. I don't know why you went down this stupid road in the first place, but whatever, money's money. So that's how that works. That's the reality of the situation. And I wasn't, when it didn't get picked up, I wasn't disappointed at all. I wasn't even surprised. On to the next thing, whatever. I got a small paycheck in between jobs, and now I'm back at work on this other job. So it's fine, it worked out fine. Okay, so what does all this mean for you? Because you're all like, well, I'm all screwed. When you write a pilot script, you should write a pilot script. You've created your show. Your script is a calling card. Your script is not a get-rich-quick scheme. It's not, and sometimes it does turn into a get-rich-quick scheme. But the odds of that are super low, and I don't like playing those odds. I'd rather do something with a higher percentage. You do whatever you want. If you think you can sell your show, God bless, go sell it. But I'd prefer to play the odds. So your script is your calling card. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme. You're writing as a calling card. You're saying, hey, this is how my writing is. This is a sample of my writing. So what does that mean? Your writing has to be what? Your writing has to be really good. Your idea, you're not saying, whoa, what about season 10? Oh, on season 4, this is going to happen. You're not saying on season 3, I have all these wonderful things. No, it's a script. Is the script good? Do you know how to write an engaging script that makes people want to turn the page? Literally, that's what a script is supposed to do. Turn the page. If your mom's reading your script and she's reading it because she loves you, but she's not enjoying it, if she doesn't want to turn the page, you haven't done your job as a writer. You're not going to. So think about giving it to someone who's not your mom. They're not going to want to read it. So your writing has to be great. Or, and this is where we get back to my other discussion, you have to bring something else to the table other than your idea that you love. And it's okay. By the way, you can keep on commenting. It's totally cool. I will get to your comments at the end of this. And if you're just joining and you're late, how dare you show up late to my class? Don't worry about it, though. I will repost this on my YouTube channel so you can catch the whole thing in its entirety on my YouTube channel at Michael Jamin Writer. So go subscribe to that right now so you catch up on what you missed. Okay. Because I'm not going to post it today. We have to edit it down, and we'll post it in a couple of days so you get notified when it's up. Okay, blah, 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 blah. Now let's get back to the bullshit. So I wanted to tell you a story. Your script, right, about what this is all about. You have to bring something more to the table than just your willingness to write a script. Just you need more than just an idea. You need more than just a good idea. What else can you bring to the table? If you want to get someone like me attached, and I'm not special. I'm a working writer, showrunner. I'm not like I said, I'm not Shonda Rhimes. So what you can bring is a large following. That's meaningful. So, for example, a few years back, my partner and I were approached by a producer who had a deal at a very big studio, one of the big ones, and they said, we found this person. They have a YouTube show that they shot out of pocket. Wasn't expensive. They didn't spend a ton of money, but this young actor, and she shot it with her partner, and it's a pretty good show. We're thinking we want to develop it, maybe pitch it as a TV show. Are you interested in coming aboard and shepherding that project? My partner are like, maybe, for the exact reasons why I told you, right? For the money reasons, for the time and money reasons. We're like, maybe. So we watch her show on YouTube, and she had a bunch of episodes. Some of them were very, very good. Some of them were terrible, but some were quite good. And some of them had a lot of views and subscribers and all that stuff. And some had very few. But some had like a couple million, right? But overall, we thought there was potential in it. And so because she had created something of value with a lot of followers, and she had already done it, it got the attention of these producers. So people always say, look, well, how do I get in the hands of a producer? No, you don't have to. You create something special that people like and love. The producers will find you. This is their job. Their job is to find people like you. So you don't have to beg. They'll find you. So they found this young actor, writer, and they teamed us up with us. We met with her and her partner, and we told her exactly what I said to you. Basically, it was like, hey, we may be able to sell this, but we would have to make some changes to actually sell it. This is what we would do. Are you okay with that? And we pitched her ideas, and she was like, yeah, I'm okay with that. You know better than me, and yeah, okay, good. Because you may not be okay with some of the things we say, and I don't want to ruin your idea, but I also don't want to waste my time. So this is what I want to do, but if you don't want to do it, God bless. You know what I'm saying? Let's go. We can go our separate ways, and I wish you a lot of luck. But there has to be, this is what I need in order for me to invest my time and money, or not my money, but my time into this project. They were okay with that. We had a long talk. We had a couple long talks about this. And then we told the producers, okay, we think we're going to move forward with this. Producers very happy to hear that, because now they have a shot at selling this to a studio or a network, right, and make some money. They have a shot. Everyone's working for free at this point. Then the negotiations came around a couple weeks later, and I hadn't heard anything from my lawyer. I was like, hey, what's going on with this? I kind of almost forgot about it. Like, what's going on with this? Where's the paperwork? And it turns out that the producer backed out of the whole deal, because this creative person, the writer and their partner, were asking too much. They started getting too greedy. They started getting too difficult to deal with. They started wanting way too much in writing, way too much this and that, making demands. But these were people they were nowhere. A year ago, they were absolutely nowhere, and now they're making demands. And the producer in the studio, like, screw this, not worth it. So it wasn't like my partner and I were being, making demands from them. They were making demands on the producer and the studio, and they just walked away. Now, here's what you have to remember. You have no leverage. These people didn't realize that. They didn't realize they had no leverage. So you can't make demands. Your first deal is going to be crappy. My first deal was, everyone's first deal is, because you have no leverage. So, but what they had done, which I thought, again, which was impressive, was they created something of value. They built an audience. Good for them. It's a shame they had to screw it up. But maybe in the next one. I don't know. Okay, so that's basically it. So what you have control over, again, is your script is a calling card. Your writing has to be great. You're welcome. By the way, I have a screenwriting course. I'm doing a giveaway on Instagram here in Instagram this in a couple of days. So keep following me if you want to win it. If you want to buy it, even better, great. But if not, don't worry. I post every day. I'm not trying to sell you. I post every day. I have lots of free stuff that I give away, including my podcast. If you like this, my podcast is called Screenwriters Need to Hear This. The link is in my profile. I also have a watch list where every Friday I email you my top content for free. You can unsubscribe whenever you want. I'm not going to spam you because it's once a week. So if it becomes too much, unsubscribe, whatever. You can get on my watch list by going to michaeljamin.com/watch list, enter your email address, or you can find the links to all of this stuff here on my Instagram profile. And by the way, subscribe to my YouTube channel if you're late, because I'm going to repost this talk on my YouTube channel. I have a lot of different stuff everywhere. Anyway, so I'm going to scroll through the comments and see if I can find some good questions to answer, because I've talked for about a half hour. That's about as much as I wanted to talk. That's probably more than I wanted to talk. All right, I'm scrolling here. I'm using my thumb in case you're wondering what I'm doing. Okay. Joe Felix says, thank you for doing this. You're welcome. What is the clock for you now? It is now 10:30 o'clock in the morning. Okay. Brandon Michael Maddox, he tunes in a lot. Yesterday I was on set and Extra kept asking everyone in the production for a line. Oh boy. He was asked to leave the set. Can you explain to people who may not know why you shouldn't do that? Yeah, if you're an extra on the show, this is going to be hurtful, but you are no better than a lamp or a couch. You are there to be in the background. You're not there to be in the foreground. This is not your shot. This is not your time to shine. This is your you can get a lot out of it by being a background worker, You can, first of all, you can network with all the other actors there. You can find out what classes they're taking, where they're working, where the other opportunities are. That's a really good reason to be a background extra. The other good reason is that you're on set. Now you're watching the director. How does the director do the job? You're watching the showrunner. Look how the showrunner does the job. Look at how the other actors who are getting paid, look how they do their, like, it's a learning experience. It's not a job opportunity for you to get in front of the camera, though. There's a lot of good things that come out of it, but Brandon Michael Maddox is right. Extras don't ask for lines. Nicholas asks, how do I get on the watch list? Okay, I'll say it again, michaeljamin.com/watch list. Okay, scrolling. I really need to do the course. Yeah, the course is great. The course it ain't cheap, but that's because you're learning from someone who knows what they're talking about. By the way, if you want to be a screenwriter, you have to study from somebody. This stuff is not like, it doesn't, the problem with writing, I'm going to be honest with you, is that everyone who picks up a pencil thinks they can write. And it's just not the truth. So it's a craft that has to be learned, and you doing it more, you get better at it. You get better at it. So I started this course at the beginning of the pandemic when all Hollywood was shut down. I literally had nothing going on for 6 months. So I built out a course. Now I'm back at work, thank God. And the course is still up there. So if you want to learn more about that, it's michaeljamin.com/course. Okay, have you ever been a showrunner? Yeah, I think I answered that several times. Ever worked on a mixed media show like Smiling Friends? I don't even know what Smiling Friends is, and I don't know what mixed media is, so I guess not. Okay. Can you ever have your script stolen by a showrunner? Look, I guess. But like I said, we don't really want to steal your script. Like, I guess. I don't give out legal advice. I've never stolen anyone's idea. I don't know. None of my colleagues have, or my contemporaries. We wouldn't. It's just, we're just not like those kind of people. But, I guess anything's possible. Okay, that makes sense. Dreams crushed. No, Rosenshine, dreams are not. I'm not. Rosenshine says dreams crushed. No, I'm not. I hope not. I'm not here to crush your dreams. I'm here to help you realize your dreams. Like, I can't. You want me to just blow smoke? You think that's going to help you? Look, here's the truth, man. Some people say to me, some people reach out to me, and I kind of block these people because they say to me, "Can you help me? Can you help me with this? I have a script. I have a project. Can you help me? Can you help me?" My answer is, yeah, I can help you. I post every day. Follow me. I give out free advice every day. Goddamn right I can help you. This is what help looks like, people. Help looks like a roadmap. Help doesn't look like me putting you in the back of my car. Help doesn't, you know what I'm saying? Help doesn't me putting you on my back and carrying you. I already broke into Hollywood once. It was hard. I don't want to do it again. So you have to, here's the map. Look at the map. Follow the fucking map. I'm not going to do it for you, though. So this is what help looks like. I'm not here to crush your dreams. I'm here to help you get your dreams. Do what I tell you to do. And here's another tip, by the way. Whatever job you want, this applies to not just Hollywood, everything. Okay, whatever job you want in life, whatever career you want, put yourself in close physical proximity to the person that has that job. Physically, literally get as close to you as you can to that person. And then ask them, how do I get your job? Ask them. So people say to me, can I break into Hollywood? I live in Cleveland, Ohio. Can I break into Hollywood? Yeah, I guess. You're making it hard on yourself. You're making it really hard. If you want to make it easier, move to Hollywood. Put yourself in close physical proximity. That's what I did. I wanted to be a TV writer, so I wound up getting a job as a production assistant on a TV show. And I was making, like, it's not a great job. You're making coffee, you're making copies. You don't need to know anybody. You don't need a resume. You need a pulse. But I was in physical proximity to the other writers, and I would befriend them, and I'd be saying nice things, and I'd help them out, and I'd get them stuff. I'd bring them lunch, and I'd do all things, and only so that I could talk to them, so they could get advice. And this is before the internet, so there was no me on Instagram talking. Now you got it all from me, so you got my help, But I'm not going to put you on my shoulders. Okay, but I'm not here to crush your dreams. I'm here to help you get your dreams. Ruth. Thoughts and producing the pilot, then selling instead of a spec script. Well, like I said, your spec is a writing sample. You can produce it. Like I wouldn't. That's time and money. If you can do it on the cheap, sure, and you can do it on the cheap because there are people who will act for free to get a reel, and you can get film students that would, that want to build up their reel and their resume. So they'll shoot it for you. You'll get what you pay for, which is, obviously. But you can do it for free or low. I mean, you can, you want to buy these people lunch and pizza and stuff like that. So if you do it, again, I still think it's a writing sample. Or if you're really going to put some time and effort into it and you want to make a movie and you submit it to a film festival, that's something you can do. Or you can build up a channel like this young woman did. She didn't have one episode, and each episode was short. It was like 5 or 10 minutes long, or maybe 10 minutes, right? And so she built up something, but it's not like she wasn't buying a lottery ticket. She put a lot of time in. I give her credit. She put a lot of time and effort. And like I said, she was a good actor, and at times she was a really good writer. Not always, but she was starting out. What do you expect, right? It's just a shame that she blew it for herself or her partner. It's a shame. You came so close. Anyway, this is how I respond to people who tell me they have a great idea for me. It's never aligned with what I write. I mean, and also great ideas are a dime a dozen, honestly. Ideas are worthless. I say this a lot. The execution of the idea is worth a lot. So I apologize if you've heard me say this before, but I think it's worth hearing again. If I tell you, here's an idea for a movie, okay? Tell me if you think it's a great idea for a movie. Young college graduate, little bored, has an affair with an older woman, gets bored with her, winds up having an affair, or winds up having sex with the older woman's daughter. That's the plot of a porno. Man has sex with an older woman, then has sex with her daughter. That's the plot of a porn. That's also the plot of The Graduate, which is one of the greatest movies ever made. So the idea itself is not terrific. It's the execution of the idea. And that's what I teach in my writing course, how to execute that idea. So you don't need a great idea. You need a good idea, and you need to execute it great. Okay. Scrolling down. If you're pitching, why are you the batter? Would it be a personal story that's desirable? I don't know what this. I'm sorry, because you asked these questions 20 minutes ago. I don't know what it's referring to. I freaking love these chats. They always motivate me to just keep writing. Well, Word Masseur, you're smart. You're smart. It should keep you going. Jameson Chase, yes. How does the money flow? Right. Watch where the money goes, and you'll get a better shot. Carrie Harkness, what about telling the story to enlighten people to the reality of what's out there and the impact of how good people make a difference in humanity? I mean, that's all fine, but at the end of the day, people only want to work with you to make money. But if you could make money and enlighten people, that's great. But they only want to make money. It's a business. Loving the info. Great. Scrolling down. Was King of the Hill your most lucrative work? I don't think so. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I did King of the Hill almost 20 years ago, so I've done okay since then. Fingers Louie, I really want to know about pitch decks. Do you expect a pitch deck when reading a new pilot or screenplay? No. I don't have pitch decks. I don't use pitch decks. Like I said, you're not, Fingers Louie, look at it as a writing sample. You're not trying to sell your show. Look at it as a write. Impress people with if you want to be a writer, impress people with your writing. And I say this as well. Like, how do I know if my writing is good? Give it to a friend, and just say, and you'll say, hey, I have this script. Will you read this script for me? And they'll say, yeah. But they'll say, but what do I know? I don't work in Hollywood. I don't know if it's good. And then you say this. You say, yeah, but just read it. Just tell me if you want to turn the page. Does my writing make you want to turn the page? And if it doesn't, it's not good enough. And if it does, you might be onto something. So they don't need to be a Hollywood expert. They have opinions, and that's it. Selling a script for a TV series the same as selling a script for a movie? Well, not really. I mean, movies are really hard to sell nowadays. My partner and I we wrote 3 movies, we sold 2 of them, then we got out of the movie business because there really is not much of a movie business anymore. I did a live on Instagram a couple of weeks ago explaining this. We are going to repost that to my YouTube channel. Phil is editing it right now. He's gotten busy with he's got a lot of stuff to do, but we plan on reposting it. So subscribe to my YouTube channel at Michael Jamin Writer if you want to watch that. So the process is similar, but it's way, way harder in film. I just joined. Does this apply to international writers living overseas? Well, here, I don't know. Like, I really don't know. This applies to Hollywood. Every country has their own internal, some make more movies and TV shows than others. So I don't really know, but I do believe that my advice giving you, the main takeaway is be a great writer, okay? I think that applies to every country wherever you live in, remember what you want to do. Focus on the writing and stop focusing on the selling. That's someone else's job. Your job is to be a good writer. And everything becomes a lot easier when you are. But most people don't want to do that because it's really hard to become a good writer. It takes a lot of work, it takes education, it takes an investment of time, energy, and money in yourself. But I'll say this, like if you don't, like it takes a lot, like I said, it takes time, money, and energy to invest in yourself. If you don't want to do that, if you don't want to learn your craft and spend a lot of time improving your craft and work, and that's doing, you're going to spend money on doing that, or you'll wind up doing it for free. If that doesn't appeal to you, then the job of writer doesn't appeal to you, because we do a lot of work for free. And if you don't enjoy the process of writing, don't do it. Because I enjoy the process. It's when you enjoy the process, the goal becomes much easier. A lot of people just want the goal. I want to sell my show. I want to see my name in lights. I want to be a blah, 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 big shot Hollywood, blah, blah, blah. That's goal oriented. If you don't like the process, don't do it. Do something else. But if you do enjoy the process, then all this time you spend investing in yourself and writing and rewriting and learning how to write, well, it's time well spent. You're enjoying it, right? Even if you don't sell it, you still enjoy the process. So, okay, great, you win. You're enjoying your life. Okay. How do you weigh industry feedback on structure versus your own intuition? When do you defer to the experts versus sticking to your guns on a spec? Okay. I didn't, just so you know, establishing shot. Starting out, I didn't know what I was doing, and I knew I didn't know what I was doing. And so my writing early on was not good, and I would never have stuck to my guns early on, because I would have been the first to admit, I don't know what I'm doing. Now, 26 years later, yeah, I do know what I'm doing. But so I deferred to experts. I really did, and I took a writing class that was taught by a writing teacher, by a retired writer of sitcoms, because that's what I wanted to do. I didn't want to take a writing class from professional writers, professional teachers. Like there's plenty of those people who just got out of film school and now they're teaching writing, but they haven't done it. So I wanted to learn from someone who had the job. Like I said, get close as you can get to the job you want. I got close to that guy, and he was retired, and I used to go to his dining room every Sunday morning to take his screenwriting class, and it was great. And from him, I learned so much. So I guess I say get close to that person. But when you stick to your guns on a spec, again, it's a writing sample. You're trying to show people that you know how to do it. And if you were to sell it, like the minute you sell your show, you got to understand something. You sold it. You don't stick to your guns. You sold it. It's theirs. They bought it. If I were to when I sell the script, like the one I just sold, they had notes that I didn't agree with. It's their show. They bought it, remember? So I'd say, okay. And my job at that point is to try to give them what they want without ruining it, try to make it find some kind of middle ground so that I'm doing good work, because I want to make sure my work is good. But at the end of the day, it's their show. So, what I also teach in the course, I really teach, there are notes that you get over and over from studio executives. They're very common. And I talk to you about what these notes are. And they're valid notes. Some notes are valid. Like if someone will read your script and they say, if someone reads your script and they say something like, I think the hero should do this at the act break instead of that. Well, that's not a good note. That's just their opinion. But if the person says, I don't understand what you were going for here in this moment. I don't understand what you were going for. And then you say, oh, I was trying to make that moment tragic and or whatever. And then say, okay, well, then they'll say, that's not playing for me. I don't get that. That's a valid note. It's 100% valid. You can't argue with that person. They didn't understand what you were going for. Now it's up to you to decide whether you want to make it more obvious or you want to change that moment. That's a 100% valid note. I don't understand what you're going for. Okay? That's a good note versus a bad note. How to make connections in the film industry without going to film school? Well, Dave Vincent DeBona. Oh, there's a famous producer named Vin DeBona. You know who he is? Vin DeBona? Look him up. Film school is a good way to make connections, but it's an expensive way to make connections, and you don't need to go to film school to be a screenwriter. At film school, it's a trade school, so you will learn how to operate a camera. You'll learn lighting, editing, all this stuff. if you want to be a writer, you don't need to learn any of that stuff. But you probably make connections. But you can also make connections just as easily for less money by being a PA on a TV show. They'll pay you. Or you could join like a writing circle or a writing class. There are Facebook groups. My course has a Facebook group for students. And I know these people are collaborating. I know they are because they leave these comments. They say they traded scripts with each other. And I think that's really smart because that's how you help each other come up. When I was breaking in, I also was my partner and I were admitted to the Warner Brothers writing program, which is kind of prestigious to get into, and it was a real nightmare. It was not. That experience is a whole nother talk, but it doesn't really even matter what I say about it because that was 25 years ago or more, and so it's changed. I'm sure it's changed, but at the time it was a nightmare. But I made a lot of connections in that course, and those people became friends, and we help each other out. And I'll say this, and I was going to do a post about this, so I have a future post. But basically, writers, it's a community. It's not a competition. If you're smart about it, your fellow writers are a community, not a competition. Okay, and I'll talk more about that in a future post. Big Phil, how can I maintain relationships with executives I've met with? Oh, well, you send them a note. You send them a thank you note, an email, or even better, you send them a printed, a hard letter because people don't get letters anymore. You can follow them on LinkedIn. That's a professional. You don't want to do it on Facebook, but on LinkedIn, they'll have a platform. And by the way, these people are going to move from job to job. These executives move from job to job within 2 or 3 years, which is why it's so common for you sell a show and then it dies because the person who bought it just got fired. You know what I'm saying? It happens all the time. So it's good that you want to maintain relationships. There's an executive that we've worked with a bunch of times. Every time he changes jobs, he sends me an email. Hey, I'm here now. And you're like, oh, you're at Netflix? Okay. You want to hear my pitch? And then these guys like, sure. It's like that kind of thing. You just, LinkedIn is a good way. Do you think YouTube skits will be the best for me to get exposure? It can be, but it also can be even like there's this woman, Brian's the one. Oh, that's cute. There's this woman on TikTok and she's on Instagram too. Her name is Elise Myers and go follow her. She basically makes these skits, that you're talking about, but it's crafted. She spends a lot of time. She doesn't just craft these things out. Like this woman has talent, but also she's got quite a bit of expertise. And so it's not just like, people getting hit in the nuts. It's not just, the silly latest trend. It's original. She does original work and she puts time and effort into it and she blew up. And now Hollywood's coming to her. You hear what I said? Hollywood is coming to her, not the other way around. She's not begging anyone. They're begging her. So be like her. Also, I was wondering if you know how international writers break in. I looked everywhere and I couldn't find an answer. Any insights? Well, is it Fatima? I want to say your name right. Madar? Okay. Whatever. I'm trying. I have a friend I met years ago. He was an Italian writer. He worked in sitcoms in Italy for many years. But the Italian marketplace is obviously much smaller. So he worked, but not enough to really make it a really good career. So he came to Hollywood to break in, and he had to break in from the bottom, So, international, I don't know how to help international writers. He got on a plane and came here. You know what I'm saying? This is Hollywood if you want to make it in Hollywood. But I don't know. I really don't. I really can't tell you. I don't know what country you're in. And I don't know what the industry is there. But try to break in wherever you are. If you were in England, they have a market there. Try to break in there and become big there, and then you can become big here. It's not uncommon for U.S. shows to buy the rights to foreign shows that become they don't even have to be hits. They're like moderate hits, and the U.S. buys the rights to them because they're easier to market. I don't know why. It seems stupid to me, but they do it. All right. Make your own short films. Okay. How do you know when to end a scene? Oh, Mario Morales. That's a smart question. I teach that in my course. That's a good, I go into that in detail, how to know, because most writers don't know when to end a scene. I teach you all of that. Okay. Go to try to win it here on Instagram or pay up some money or whatever. How do you know when I love telling my childhood stories. That's good. Yeah. Disney fan Maddie. How do you know when your script is finished and ready to be pitched? Here's what you do. Write your script. I'm going to talk for like 15 more minutes, make it an hour, and I'll buzz out of here. Write your script, polish it, Set it aside for a couple weeks or a month. Then read it with fresh eyes. You will find all the problems that you saw. Fix those problems. Do that a couple times. Then move on to your next project. I want you to forget about the one you wrote. Move on to your next one. Write another one. Do the same thing. After, let's say, a couple of years, you'll have, let's say, 5 projects maybe. I don't know how fast you work, but you will see that project number 5 is light years better than project number 1. You'll see it. You'll see it. So that's what you do. Don't get married. Don't just keep working on this one. Keep moving. Improving your craft. And then, so now you'll go back and you look at project number 1. You go, oh, it's a good thing I never pitched that because it's terrible. And project number 5, that's something. Now I got something. Now you might be ready. James O. Magavero, 10,000 hours of diligent study to be a good screenwriter. No shortcut. Yeah, this stuff takes time, man. It takes time. I wasn't good I'm telling you now, I wasn't good when I started off. I was good enough to get an agent. And I was good, and then I teamed up with a partner, and then we were good enough. And if you want to hear that story, by the way, how I broke in, I'm working on a collection of personal essays called A Paper Orchestra. And so one of the stories in it is called, is the story of how my partner and how I teamed up with my partner, how we broke into the business, how we got an agent, that kind of story. And it's a sample story from my book. If you would like to read it, go to michaeljamin.com/story. You could download it for free. And then when the book comes out, I say, hey, you remember when you liked that story? Here's the rest. Okay, and then I send you an email for that. What do you mean when you say a writer has something to say? Oh, did I say that? Did I say that? Ben, did I say that, or did you hear someone else say that? Let me ask that question. What is the roadmap for international writers? Okay, yeah, and dealing with visa restrictions, I don't have an answer to that. I don't know. But on my podcast, I have a podcast called Screenwriters Need to Hear This, so go subscribe to that. I plan to have as a guest my friend Rob Cohen. He's already going to do it. Rob is a great writer and also now he's a director, and he's Canadian. So one of the things we're going to talk about is how he was able to, as a Canadian, come here and work with those visa requirements. So he'll have some advice on that. So go subscribe to my podcast so that when that comes out, you listen to that episode. Any recommendations of places to send pilots to break into the industry? Okay, so the latter, maybe, I don't know if you're just joining, but go watch this podcast. Go watch this talk again. Budget is a non-issue. Okay, well, Ruth, if you say budget is a non-issue, it's your money. The rule of Hollywood is never invest your own money into a project. That's just the rule. If you're going to do it, your money, maybe you're wealthy, knock yourself out. But I do think that you can do something great for less money. When my partner and I ran the show Marin, that was a super low budget show. It was so low budget that the day the studio was giving us a tour, it was our first day, and the studio was giving us the tour of our office space. This it was a low level studio rep or whatever. And it was just me. My partner was doing something else. And so she's giving me the keys. We're walking through the hallways, and she's laughing to herself. She goes, I shouldn't be telling you this, but, and I'm like, what, right? She's like, I shouldn't be telling you this, but all of us in the office are laughing because we don't think you can do this show on the budget that you have. It's so low. And I'm like, oh, God, I don't need to hear this. This is my first time as a showrunner on a live action show, and I don't need that, right? I don't need to hear that. And I said to this woman, I said, well, do we get a whiteboard? That's a whiteboard, okay? And I said, do we get a whiteboard? And she goes, oh, yeah. We have a supply closet full of whiteboards. You get as many whiteboards as you want. And I go, oh, it's going to be fine then. What are you so worried about? Because I'm a writer. All I need is that. I need my knowledge of story structure, and I can tell small stories. I don't need stories that take place on an crashing airplane or in an amusement park with 1,000 extras. I can tell a small story that takes place in a diner. That's easy. That's easy to shoot. That's low budget. I can do that. And the show, Marin, was extremely well reviewed. No one ever said, the lighting is a little poor. No one ever said, why aren't there any expensive shots? Because we didn't use any expensive shots. No one ever said that. They said the writing was good and the acting was good. So if you want another example of why I feel so strongly about that, so my wife has a line of girls' clothing called Twirly Girl. You can go to twirlygirlshop.com. I wrote and produced the commercials that we used. We play them on Facebook. Some of these commercials honestly have more views than shows that I've written on network TV. Some of these commercials have over 10 million views. That's a lot. Most of the shows that I write on TV get like 500,000 or 1 million, So, and these commercials that I wrote, I hired high school kids from the local it was the local school of performing arts, and I hired these kids. They're 15, 16 years old. I go, here, I'm going to teach you. I'm going to teach you how to make a TV show, and I'm going to pay you for your time because your time is worth something. And these kids were all like, are you kidding? We'll do it for free. I go, no, I want to pay you because I'm going to yell at you and I'm going to say, do this now. And I'm paying you, so you're going to do it. And they're like, good. They're like, yeah, we like that. And by the way, I ran this by the whole, I had a meeting with the director of the school's art film program. I said, this is what I want to do. And he's like, dude, I love this idea because I'm giving kids real world experience and I'm paying them and they're learning from a showrunner how to make a TV show. And so go to twirlygirlshop.com, scroll down on the homepage. You'll see all the videos, all the commercials I shot. They're all like 5 or 6 and they're all funny. They're all like 2 or 3 minutes long. They're all like mini sitcoms. They're great. I know they're great. They're funny. Some of them are out of focus a little bit at times. They lose focus because it's being shot by a 14-year-old. And I'm not exaggerating, 14-year-old. Sometimes, there's a wobble in the camera, stuff like that. And by the way, in the first commercial, I turn around the camera. At the end of the commercial, I say, so how do we make this magic? And I turn the camera around like that. And I reveal all the kids who worked on the show, worked on the commercial. And when you watch that at the end of this first commercial, I think your heart soars because you're like, look what these teenagers did. And if you can create a show like that for little money and make it good, Hollywood is going to go freaking nuts because they're going to be like, look what this person did. The first commercial I shot, by the way, I know I'm about to go over. I know this wasn't the topic, but I think it's helpful. The first commercial that I shot for Twirly Girl cost us $1,400. So most of it was renting the cameras. Some of it was pizza. Like, I bought the kids pizza for lunch and then I paid the kids money, right? It didn't cost a lot of money. But when you watch it, you go, look what this guy did for $1,400. That's a miracle. So create a miracle. The most important thing is the writing. Become a great writer. The writing, then the acting, and then also the sound. The sound is actually more important than the camera. If you can't hear, if the mics don't work or the mics are bad, you forget it. So the mic is actually more important than the camera work, I think. Anyway, that's just me railing about that. Go watch those commercials and you'll love them. Have streaming services changed the screenwriting business in any way? Yeah. The money, the residuals is not nearly as good. And that'll be what the next strike is about, I believe, the next writer's strike. But other than that, and the orders are smaller. So it used to be on network TV, you'd do like 22 episodes would be a full year. And now a full season would be like 13 or 10. So now that's why I say, when I say I'm in between jobs, I'll do 10 or 13 episodes of this show. Now I got to go find another job for 10 or 13 episodes. And I have all this time in between. So it's not uncommon for writers like me to be out of work for a couple months because now you got to find work again. Whereas in the past, I'd be on a show for 22 episodes. I'd take a 2-month hiatus to breathe again and then go back to work. But I wouldn't be looking for work during the hiatus. Understand? Some things aren't. Okay. Execution ability is greater than idea. Okay. Sent us back out. There's a consensus on my structure that seems to want to turn my script into something else. They don't have buying intention, and my intuition says keep it as it is. What do I do? Well, you sent it out. People seem to tell you that to turn it into something else, but they're not paying you to do it. And do what you want at that point. I mean, I can't really help you with that. Stick to your guns, do what you want, but, why not continue? Why not do something else? Okay, if they're telling you, your idea, it should be, your idea for a movie should be a limited series horror show, right? Whatever. And you don't want to do that. Okay, don't. So come up with another project that more aligns with what they want. You don't have to don't just have one idea. Have a lot of ideas. What's a valuable lesson you learned from Greg Daniels? It's funny, Greg's obviously a very talented writer, and he used to love coming up with like rules, like comedy rules and writing rules. That was kind of his hobby. He would think of rules and he'd write them down. He'd pass them. And he gave us a sheet that he came up with. And it was kind of fun to read. And I remember sitting down with him one day at lunch, and we were talking, because he's like, he likes coming with rules. And I said to him, Greg, there is no writing 102. It's all writing 101. And his eyes lit up. He goes, oh, that's good. He liked that. And it's true. It's all writing 101. And that's why I teach in my course. It's like, hey, This is how you do it. Writing is not easy, but writing is simple. I try to make it simple. So if that interests you, go sign up for the course, or at least sign up for the free lesson at michaeljamin.com/course. You can get a free lesson from it. I talked to a couple extras who also want to be comedians yesterday in the set, and now we plan on hitting open mics together and starting a podcast. Always talk to people. Yeah, good luck with that. Yeah, good for you. Yeah, come out of your shell and talk to people. Your Mike Knox comedy. Mike Knox is one of the people from my course. Your writing course is cheaper than 2 of the classes I took at UCLA. Yeah. And that the problem is UCLA, it's hit or miss, I imagine. It depends who you're studying from, who's teaching it. Sometimes they get great writers who are just, they want to teach for a semester or 2 because they're in between jobs. And sometimes you get people who don't know what they're doing. So I always say this when you, whoever you plan on, you need to study from somebody. Study whoever you want to study from. Do your due diligence. See if and that includes me. If you don't like the way I write, if you don't like the way I talk to you, if you think I'm mean and abrupt and brash, and you don't think I know how to write, don't study from me. But the same holds true from anybody else. I'm sure there are screenwriting courses for $100. Okay, sounds like a bargain, right? Well, not if the person doesn't know how to do it. So find out who the teacher is and say, what have you written on? And they might say nothing. And then you say, well, why am I studying from you if you haven't done it yet? And then you'll say, well, here's a script that I wrote, and you'll read their script, and you'll go, but this is terrible. Or maybe it's great, but you should do that due diligence. Disney fan, thank you for your advice and your real talk. You're very welcome. Have you worked anywhere else than Hollywood? Only as a kid. When I got out of college, I moved to Hollywood, so this has been my career. I haven't done anything else. But as a kid, I've had a number of jobs, if that's what you're talking about, grill cook, stuff like that. What's a lesson you learned from a showrunner that changed how you approach writing? Well, James, I'm gonna talk for 4 more minutes, then I'm gonna get off. And by the way, if you are just joining, a lot of people I see just joined. You missed the talk. How dare you come late? Don't worry about it. I will repost this soon on my YouTube channel. So subscribe to my YouTube channel at Michael Jamin Writer so you get all this stuff, and also get on my watch list. And listen to my podcast. The links are all in my profile here on Instagram. When I'm done talking, go to my profile, check out all my links, follow me everywhere because I post different stuff on different platforms. It's all free. Go get it. Okay, now I'll get to this question. What's a lesson you learned from a showrunner that changed how you approach writing? Well, when I was a staff writer on Just Shoot Me, and I was just starting out, and I was definitely imposter syndrome. It was like they're gonna learn I don't know what I'm doing here. They're gonna figure that out. Because I didn't know what I was doing. And by the way, I was still good enough to get an agent. I was good enough to get hired on a show. I was good, but I did not know what I was doing. Not like I know now. Not like believe me, I wish I could have taken my course that I offer now then. It would have been, forget about it. It would have been very helpful, but I didn't know it. Anyway, so I remember this was a really funny, Just Shoot Me was a great writer's room. Some really high-level, high-talent writers, really great writers in that room. And so you'd sit in the room and people would be pitching jokes. And I was too busy laughing to even consider pitching something for myself, because they were just making me laugh. And I know I was not getting paid to laugh. I was getting paid to pitch. And so we'd be pitching on a line. And I couldn't even beat these other writers to the joke because they would come up with the pitch before I could. And I remember after a couple of weeks, I confided this to Marsh McCall, who was not the showrunner, but he was a producer on the show, mid-level, which is a writer. And he was before he got to Just Shoot Me, he was the head writer on Conan's show. So he was a good, quick, funny guy. And I told him, I was like, man, I can't beat these writers to these jokes. I don't know what to do. They're so much funnier. And he said to me something that changed the way I approach writing. He said, you're never going to beat them if you go down that same path. They're too fast. We're too fast for you. It's a sprint. You're never going to beat us. And it's a sprint and there's a wall. There's an obstacle. It's an obstacle course. So there's a wall at the end of this lane here. And we're all climbing over that wall. And you're not going to beat us because we're too fast. You have to figure out a way to go around that wall or dig through that wall or push me out of the way or find another way around the wall other than going up it. And then it clicked. I was like, oh my God, that's what it is. I don't have to come up with a line along the same line of thinking that everyone else is. As long as I can say something funny that gets me to the other side of that wall, I can beat them. And that's what it was. It opened up my mind. I realized there's more than one way to get across that wall. There's more than one way. I don't have to do it the way everyone else. And now, you want to know the truth? I'm the guy to beat up that wall. I'm the guy. because it just opened up my mind. And I know it sounds like bragging, but I'm that guy now who can do it fast because it just it opened up my mind. It freed my mind. So my mind was in a box before that. So I hope that helps. Establishing shot, just roll with it. Oh, okay. So, are you ever on set? Maximum 3. Okay, maximum 43. Am I ever? Here's the problem. I'm on the set too often. I know being on set must seem fun and exciting, and for the first day it is, or for the first hour it is. But being on set is relentlessly boring. Is a lot of hurry up and wait. Is a lot of moving lights and just waiting. It could take an hour between shots. It's uncomfortable. On Marin, we shot scenes in crack houses, right? Well, we shot in actual crack houses. So it's not fun to be in a crack house, to spend a day in a crack house. It's gross and disgusting. So as a writer, as a showrunner, yeah, I'm required to be on set. Do I like it? No, I prefer to be in front of a computer screen typing. So I am on set, but I prefer to be typing. Do writers' rooms hire assistants or interns? Well, yeah, we have writers' rooms and I talk about this on my page here. Go search for it. A writer's assistant is the person who takes notes. I just talked about this a couple of days ago, so watch that video here on Instagram. A writer's assistant is someone who takes notes and they type, and it's a great way to learn. There's also a writer's PA who basically brings us lunch, and that's a great way to get physically close to the writers and learn. So if you can get that job, go for it. And I talk about, go scroll through my page when I'm done here and watch some of those videos. If you're an aspiring screenwriter and you are not reading several scripts a week, you're not learning the craft. Yeah, I mean, you got to be, reading and writing, they're the same thing. You got to do both. And you can learn a lot by reading a bad screenplay too. People say, what's a good screenplay to read? And I'm like, anyone. You can read a bad pilot. And you go, why do I not like this pilot? And study it. And then be honest with yourself when you're doing your writing. Are you falling victim to the same crimes that this writer of that pilot that you wrote, wrote? Chances are you are. You're just holding yourself up to a different. You're saying, well, not really, but you probably are. So it's a great way of learning. Thanks for the process versus goal insight. You bet. You really help us a lot. I hope so. What's a lesson you learned from a show? Oh, okay, did that one. Pitch versus self-produced during pandemic. Well, I think I addressed that. Could they ask you to come to the set and ask for your opinion when changing something in the script? There's always a writer on set. It's either the showrunner or the showrunner sending their proxy. The proxy could be an upper-level writer, like a co-executive producer, or it could be the writer of that script. But there's almost always a writer on set. So they don't just change lines without, if the actor has a problem or a director has a note, the writer will do it. That's what we get paid for. I'm 42. Can I still make it? My worry is that my time has passed. Well, Brian's the one. It's not my job to crush your dreams. That's what your parents are for. So, it's not too late. It's going to be harder tomorrow, and it's going to be harder the next day. I don't know what your situation is. You may have a family. You may have kids. If you want to break in, it's going to be a lot easier if you're willing to work for cheap. It's going to be easier. Like I said, become a production assistant or a PA or whatever. They don't pay a lot. But if you need to support a family, that's going to be a lot harder. But can you still do it? Yeah, but you have to bring more to the table than just your idea. You got to build up an audience, or you can write a novel that becomes a bestseller. Forget it, man. Forget it. You write and I'm not and you're saying, well, but that's hard. Well, dude, it's all hard. None of it's easy. Yeah. But, you can become a novelist and write your book. And if that becomes a hit, a big book, and a lot of people think that's not fair. Well, now you're telling me to build an audience. That's not fair. I'm just one guy. Well, here's the thing. And Brian, I'm not yelling at you, by the way. I'm just explaining. Oh, I've gone over. I'm sorry. This would be my last comment. I'm not yelling at you, but I'm in the same boat. So when I work on a TV show, if that show doesn't find an audience, I'm out of work. The show will get canceled. Then I'm out of work. I got to start over again. And it's the same thing with you. You got to build an audience. Well, you don't have to. That's one way of doing it, is build an audience and have Hollywood, maybe build an audience so Hollywood will want what you have. Anyway, I hope this helps. I'm sure I would do another talk. And I know I didn't get to everyone's questions. Oh my God, there's so many. I apologize. I apologize for not getting it, but I did go over. I did go over by 5 minutes. So Here's the breakdown. I will repost this to my YouTube channel if you came late. So go subscribe to that. It's at Michael Jamin Writer. My podcast is called Screenwriters Need to Hear This. We drop new episodes every Wednesday. The link for that is also in my Instagram profile. I have something called a watch list. You should all sign up for that because I will email you my top videos for actors, writers, and creative people once a week, and it's free. You can unsubscribe whenever you want. I'm not going to spam you. That's also in my profile here on the link, or you can go to, so go check that out. And I'm also doing a giveaway for my course here on Instagram, probably in a couple of days. We're going to post about the rules for that. And it's free to enter, no purchase necessary because it's a giveaway. So keep following for that. Is there anything else I want to tell you before I log off? I think that's it. I think I covered it. I hope this has been helpful. I know I can be a splash of water in the face, but I think I'm not doing you any favors by lying. So, right? I'm not. Okay, everyone. Thanks for joining me. Go follow me on these other channels because that'll help you. It'll definitely, I put a lot of different content, and I try to do different content on different platforms because each kind of have their pluses and minuses that you can do it on. So there it is. All right, everyone. Thank you for joining me. Go check out my profile as soon as I log off and sign up. Get all that good stuff for you. Okay? Be safe. Bye-bye.